Welcome you to episode 44 of Battin and Chattin here on the Eastern Observer alongside Denis Tuohy. I'm Brandon Natale. Before we get started, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be kept on the loop everything Eastern Observer and most importantly, Battin and Chattin. A show can be found to you on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Also, our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download their newest hit single, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM Satellite Radio, and many others. Dennis, how you doing today on this Wednesday evening? It's good that we're recording earlier, so we can I don't mind that we do late night podcasting, but after a long day on Wednesdays, whether it's me going to the gym, working all day, and then coming home and then doing this, it's a lot, But the fact that but I think the fact that we've been doing that for a little bit, I think it shows our character and our commitment to the show, and and I'm proud and I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. And I think it's cool that we're from. I mean, it's cool, but it's not that we're able to record now at an earlier time. You know, um, I wish under different circumstances because of the foot injury I just recently suffered. But you gotta look at the positives, and right now I'm trying to be as positive as I can with this, and hopefully recover in quick enough time. Um, I suffered a Lis Frank injury. It's a football injury, and funny enough, I wasn't playing football, so you live and you learn. So it's why people shouldn't. When people see slippery, be careful when people walking. Don't slip, don't trip, because next thing you know, you could hurt yourself. So careful, all the viewers out there. But hopefully I'll be better. But when I'm thinking of like freak accidents, freak injuries, and how it's related to baseball, first thing that comes to mind is like Mariano Rivera. When he got hurt in 2012, he was catching fly balls in the outfield. Why is a closer, especially a legendary closer as him, why was he out there catching fly balls? It amazes me. I remember that like it was yesterday. It was a big thing. He tore his ACL and his meniscus. And
Yeah, that's great.
I think he was 42. Funny enough, that was his number.
Yeah, that was bizarre. There's another one though that I thought you were gonna go with.
There's a lot of them. Funny enough. I mean, but I remember, what?
How do you forget Trevor Bauer in the World Series? Right?
Wait, really?
Yeah, remember he cut his finger on the drone in the 2016 World Series? Not during the game, obviously.
I know what you mean, yeah.
I'm trying to find
With the Rivera one, I remember it was A-Rod that hit it. And I remember he was really? Do you want to present it or?
No, this is something different I'm talking about.
Okay.
I found something different. I thought you were gonna, because you're a Met fan. I thought you were gonna go with Bobby Ojeda, who cut himself with the chainsaw.
There's a lot. There's Cespedes that was with the Boars. There's that.
I don't know what happened with the Boars. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
I don't know why.
Whatever happened there. Listen, I don't know, but I don't believe that story. I don't. People that are suspect of the whole Otani thing, I don't know why they are at this point, but nut jobs are. the Cespedes board thing is way more bizarre than that.
Now looking back at
the Bobby Ojeda chainsaw thing is insane. He was trimming trees in front of his house during the season, and he cut himself with a chainsaw. Did he cut his?
Look it up if you could. That's stupid.
I know who he is. He got elbow surgery.
Even more. I know he's great.
He was fantastic for you guys that season.
Yeah, he was great in the postseason.
And I don't think he played for you guys in the postseason in '88.
I'm gonna say I know. Obviously Edwin Diaz jumping. Getting hurt, celebrating.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A
lot of bizarre
Kendrick Morales shattering his legs, jumping on home plate after a walk off.
Oh, it's Bob Ojeda? They called him Bobby, didn't they? Bob Ojeda?
He was the pitcher, right?
I always heard everybody call him Bobby, but I guess not.
He was the pitcher, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
That's
watched.
that's the pitcher.
I watched the documentary of Once Upon a Time in Queens.
Yeah.
He's in a lot, and it was a great documentary. And he was talking a lot. That's crazy. I don't even I didn't even know that story. Talking about this is Mets luck right there. You know.
Yeah. Did he? I don't think he played in the postseason for you guys that year. I could be wrong. No, he didn't. Maybe he
Look up his
did.
stats.
No, he never did. The only season he ever pitched in the postseason was 86. Wow. Oh, that's right, because it was pre-wild card. You guys didn't make it in 87.
No, we didn't make it in wild card in the
It was
'87.
the
We
Cardinals who did.
'86 and '88. That was what happened. That was when they won the East, and then the Mets went on kind of a slump. He was on the Mets for a while.
Yeah.
And then he played for the Dodgers and then the Yankees his last couple of years. Well, but he was in the league for a long time. He went to He played for Boston before playing for the Mets in the World Series. That's pretty funny.
Do you know who the only player was to play in the 86 and 69 World Series?
I do.
Yeah. You read his book.
Tom Terrific Seaver.
Yeah, I don't know how he did in the World Series. Did he? I always say that, but I don't even know if he actually pitched in that World Series or not.
I don't think he did. I think he was just on the roster just for. It sucks that he had to. It was on the Red Sox that posing. What?
His last postseason appearance, Tom Seaver, was 79.
Really?
Only one game, a loss.
Yeah. So he wasn't. He didn't get
2
to
runs in
He
8
didn't get
innings.
to play in the postseason for the Reds. I think he was just there just to be on the roster. Like, God forbid if they needed anybody, like he would have been there.
I don't know how he was with Boston that year. He wasn't even. Oh, hold on a minute. Dude, he wasn't even bad with Boston that year. Oh, my God. Why didn't they pitch him? He had a 4.03 ERA that year. That's not bad, but he had a 3.8 with the Red Sox. Different era. So that 3.8 plays differently than it does now, guys. That's not bad. What's his ERA plus? 106. He was an average pitcher. That's not bad.
He got his 300th win with the White Sox, and when I read the book, it was pretty cool because they were talking about how it really went into detail when they talked about how George Steinbrenner hated the fact that it was him that won it at Yankee Stadium. I don't know if it was because it was a Met thing. I got to read back the book, but they said they didn't like how he won it at Yankee Stadium. I mean, hey, good for time. Well, that's why Yankee Stadium holds a lot of history. As a Met fan, I could say it holds a lot. Babe Ruth played there. It's just a very legendary. Any baseball fan would say it's a legendary ballpark. Like I said, as I'm a Mets fan and I'm also a baseball fan, so like I said, I would say that. But the book was pretty cool, and I think it sucked because Tom wanted to stay on the Mets for a long time. Talking like I knew the guy, like, oh yeah, Tom was,
who's the best guy around?
Yeah,
Life of the party.
Life of the party. And so,
heck of a beer pong partner, man. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So I went to Aruba with the guy. Nice guy. But
house in the Hamptons. Invited us over. Nice guy.
But I remember when he got traded again from the Mets, when he was left unprotected, it was a big thing again. That's why, like you said, it always sucks that the Mets never got to. They're not known for keeping some of their star players. Like, and after watching the Once Upon a Time documentary, they showed, like, obviously at the ending. I hated the ending. I mean, it was a great documentary. Not denying that, it was great. What I didn't like was just like it ended on like such a sad note. It basically trashed the Mets organization. Like they've been a sad franchise ever since. Like, have they really? I mean, look, I know they haven't been the best, but like, you can make it better than that. I remember because they showed like Shea getting knocked down and how the Mets, they said the Mets kind of haven't really done anything ever since the '86 World Series. Well, I mean,
they traded a young Kevin Mitchell who was in his prime for nothing before he won the MVP.
They should have kept him.
And that's never talked about.
They should have kept him.
At least I don't hear people talk about like lol Mets, dumb Mets decisions, and the Bobby Bonilla contract. They got rid of Kevin Mitchell before he won the MVP when he was like 21 years old because he was too thuggish. And for those of you just listening, I'm using air quotes, heavy air quotes.
I think they also thought he was a bad influence on Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. They really kind of should have split them apart.
Yeah, but they never provided examples. And that to me, it's the same thing when people talk about like McNeil, Alonso, and Lindor. Now, I feel like we always talk about this. It's like if you're not going to provide me examples, I can't take you seriously. Now, like the whole rat raccoon thing, fine. Aside from that, tell me. And I know nowadays players don't air things in the media the way they used to, but there's beat writers who know this stuff. If they could always, at the end of any time a team ends their season disappointingly, if we could get an athletic article just trashing that team, all the dirt that happened that season, I think we could find out during the season what's going on. And I know people are like, well, this, that, the other. They want to be in the players' good graces. Dude, back in like the 70s and 80s, the the Pirates, yeah, right? The beat reporters would get hammered with guys on the team and then call the guys alcoholics the next day in the newspaper. Like, it was a different time. I don't think it has to be that vicious. But at the same time, too, when people say things about players, and if you're not going to tell me any examples aside from what was in I know the documentary we're talking about. In the documentary, what was implied when I watched it, my takeaway from it was they traded him away because he was black. That was my takeaway. Was why they traded. That's at least that's how he took it, and guys on the team took it. So that's why I always say that was the stupidest thing they did.
I thought it was because, and Doc Gooden even said
that was my interpretation of it. Was that Kevin Mitchell was too quote unquote thuggish, so they traded him away. And they traded away. Who's it? Dave Kingman. They traded away for nothing too.
I think it's
so
it was a lot.
And then they got rid of Randy Myers. Not that season. This is
I think Howard Johnson. They didn't sign back Howard Johnson. Ray Knight.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Ray Knight. They didn't sign back Ray Knight.
Ray Knight. Yeah.
But they probably. I think in all honesty, they really should have tried to get some help for. I don't know if they really. I mean, I don't know how much of help they did for Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry, but they probably probably should have did a better job getting them help. Maybe they should have split them apart, but I feel like they kind of made Kevin Mitchell the scapegoat for kind of, Darryl and Doc's issues.
Yeah. And like to his credit, they traded him away to the Padres, and then he also got traded away to the Giants. So there could have been legitimacy to him being like a bit of a screw up. But he was also, he's 25. He was older than I thought. But I don't know. They never gave an example for that one, and I always thought that was weird. Now we just spent 13 minutes talking about 1980s baseball again, the free space of Battin and Chattin. Bingo. Yeah. Now let's talk about current injuries. And unfortunately for Cardinals fans, oh gosh, if you thought your season couldn't get any worse, it did. Wilson Contreras. Oh man, you're 6 games out, 4-game losing streak, and the cherry on top, you're losing one of the best catchers in the league in Wilson Contreras. 6 weeks.
Ooh.
This was after he had gotten injured playing the Mets. Oh my gosh.
I was watching the game live.
A sliding doors moment. He got hit by JD Martinez at the plate. A lot of people are kind of blaming a lot of people for what happened. And a left forearm fracture. And hopefully he gets well soon. Man, he's a heck of a ball player, and man, that sucks. They really need him, and now, as far as who's to blame, people think that JD Martinez was too far back or whatever.
I
It's
feel like
it's kind
yeah,
of an indictment on baseball right now. Before you go, let me just
yeah. Go
say
ahead, go ahead.
nowadays the catchers they want to be as close as possible so they can get the low strike called in pitch frame. And Ali Mormol, manager of the Cardinals, addressed this when asked about the Contreras injury and said for the exact reason I told you because they want to steal strikes. They want him. This is the style they want him to play with. And JD Martinez, like a lot of ball players, stays as far back as possible. Guys with longer swings, whatever, they stay as far back as possible. And that kind of unstoppable force, immovable object, that was the collision. And unfortunately, it cost the guy 6 weeks on the IL. And
And a
I
broken
just
arm.
want to, before I get your take on it, I'm just going to end it off with this. Then we can even revisit this afterwards. I think the Cardinals now have to sell their team, not the ownership or whatever. I mean, they have to.
Rebuild.
Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado can not finish this season as Cardinals. Can't happen.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel like anytime I'm watching them on the Cardinals, whether it's a Mets broadcast or another, they don't feel talked. It doesn't seem like they're talked in a good light, and I feel like it dates back definitely to at least 2 years ago. I remember watching them on the Cardinals. Arenado, when he got traded to them from the Rockies, it was a good trade. Everyone thought that the Rockies kind of got robbed in the sense of that trade.
Because they had to pay some of that contract, brother.
You look back on it, do you think that trade? Do you think the Rockies kind of got? I mean, little stolen?
Oh, it
Or
was a
do you-
terrible trade.
right.
Come on, they don't shoot. They're stupid. But,
You think Paul
know,
Goldschmidt? I mean, Goldschmidt's been having.
Arenado has been
Yeah.
fine. I mean, he's been an MVP candidate, hasn't he? Since
Yeah.
going there. I mean, he's not bad. Neither of them are actually. Goldschmidt might be having a slightly worse year. Like neither of them have been bad though.
Yeah, I mean, Goldschmidt has always been. He's always been a great hitter. This is just not his year.
So, I mean, what do you think about the injury before we talk about the future of the Cardinals? I'm curious. What do you think about the initial injury? You watched it live. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't because I was out.
Yeah. Arenado's been well, before I get into that, he's actually been pretty good for the team. And even so far this year he's hitting like 287. That's pretty good. I don't know if it's maybe the fielding that's been a problem. He actually hasn't been that bad. No. He's been he's been an all-star every single year for them, so forgive me for that to the viewers. Oh wow. No, but yeah, but I was watching it live. A lot of people, it definitely looked like it stung. It looked like it hurt, especially because since I have recently suffered an injury, I could attest and feel. I could have sympathy for him because I know how he feels. Except I didn't get hit with a bat going 100 miles per hour swinging. I feel like I don't know if he was. I feel like I've seen a lot, Dennis, with these catchers in his catchers interference. Whether they're reaching out, I've been seeing it a lot more, and it sucks. But I don't know if he's more to blame because I mean, I got to take a look at it. But if he's out of place, JD Martinez, then sure.
No, he's got a long swing. That's the reason he's got a long swing, and nowadays they want catchers up as close as possible for pitch framing. That's the strategy, and that's what Ali Mormol had said in a post game presser. That this is just the style, and he didn't phrase it as bluntly as I will, but there's casualties of war. It sucks when it happens to your guy, but one day it's going to be one of your hitters and it happens to someone else's guy. Like that's just the way it is.
Right.
And like I said, he didn't say it as bluntly as I did, but yeah.
I feel bad for like players like I mean, it definitely looked like it's stung and it's sad that he's going to be out for as long as he's going to be. In terms of the Cardinals and what's going on for them, I feel bad for players like Paul Goldschmidt. It's a lot. I feel like a lot of players are definitely slipping this year. Randy Rosarina, before we get back to him, he was hitting like 150. That's insane. That's ridiculous. And I drafted him in fantasy.
Listen, and if you want to trade him, give him to me. He's always, for all you fantasy players out there who, like you or me, have him on your roster because I have him in my other league, hold Hold. He's always a late bloomer. Hold your Randy Arozarena stock. I'm the Randy Arozarena whisperer. One of my favorite players in the league. Dude, hold your Randy stock. So if you're not as patient as I am, if you're trying to win June instead of winning October, buddy, make him an Arias con pollo.
I'm gonna hold off
my
on that.
logo
Nah,
because
it's
Luis Arias
I'm
is
not
the
gonna take you
logo
up
on
on
this
that.
one.
I'm sorry, my good sir.
Really? Mark Hanna, 1-for-1? Who says no? Fourth ranked outfielder.
Mark
That's
Hanna, really? I love Mark Hanna,
fourth
former
ranked
Met.
outfielder. Fourth ranked
For Randy
outfielder.
Arozarena, nah, it's a no for me, dog.
Okay. Respect. Taylor
Um,
Ward.
it's a no
Taylor
for
Ward's
me.
good.
Yeah, I'm a pass. Uh, I love Mark Hanna, but not for Randy Arozarena.
All right, back to the Cards.
Back to the Cards, but no, but you know what I mean. So like getting back to Paul Goldschmidt, you see he's hitting like 195. That's ridiculous. You look at the past years. 2012, he played 151 games. He was hitting 317. 158 the year before, he was hitting 294. Always known as a great hitter for average and just great all around hitter. To see him slumping at 195, it's definitely more common than you see. And I believe he was MVP in 22. NL MVP. He was, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when he was having that good of a season. And who was number third? Nolan Arenado. So yeah, you're right. You got me there. So with the Contreras thing, but so I mean, even if he goes out, players got to step up for the Cardinals. It sucks what's been going on for the franchise because last year they didn't have a good year. This year, I mean, the Mets took 2 out of the 3, even though the third one's going to be held April 5th. They didn't get to play today. So who's the backup catcher for the Cardinals? Like who's?
I'm gonna check that now because I was curious who it would be with him out.
It sucks
And
because you got to hope that the catcher is definitely a key position on the baseball diamond because they control everything
course.
essentially. Like who's getting the first and second because you look at the Mets with Omar Narvaez. I mean, decent catcher, not bad of a hitter. Tomas Nido has actually been decent too behind the plate. But a lot of the times, I don't know if it's a problem with Tomas Nido too, but I think it's somewhat with Narvaez that they're having a lot of bases stolen on him. Not a lot, they're not a lot of catching. I don't know if it would have been different with Alvarez. It probably would have been. But, you could see that even if Alvarez goes out, the catching position is pretty crucial to the diamond. So you wonder how the Contreras injury is going to affect the Cardinals lineup because he's definitely a great hitter and he's definitely one of the best catchers in all of baseball.
they have their faith in the pride of Panama City, Ivan Herrera.
Okay.
Herrera? Herrera. Herrera. Ivan. Tough pronunciation for me, man. No offense. 23 years old, turns 24 June 1st. Young guy, young cat. So we'll see if he can get it done. And I mean, I don't know what happens, man. And I don't know if he was the pitcher at the time, but Miles Mikolas, pitcher of the Cardinals, called Contreras the team's beating heart behind the plate.
He was actually pitching yesterday, yeah. He was starting pitcher for the Cardinals.
And he said he's close to the plate trying to steal strikes. As pitchers, we appreciate that. But, if we knew he was going to get hurt, I'd rather throw all balls. Thinking about it after the fact, I think there should be a line back there, for the catchers and just have them stay behind that line. That way, no one can get any closer than the next guy. And if you put them back there in a spot that's deemed safe, and that might help guys. That's what Miles Michaelis said after the game. And I know we'll get to that in a bit. But what happens next for the Cardinals? They gotta trade. They gotta blow it up. Now, this is a team that I've called them on this show a bunch of times: the San Antonio Spurs of baseball, the New England Patriots of baseball. They're a team that has just about always been competitive in the 21st century. May not be championship contender. Oh, they came all the way back. Those little Knicks.
Let's go next.
And The little Knicks that could. And they always, the Cardinals, that is, are always competitive, if not a championship contender. They at least are a tough out. And yeah, this is going to be a tough stretch for them. They gotta consider blowing it up. Because I don't know how much you can hold together. And honestly, before the season started, I trashed them and thought they had a bad offseason. You're putting a lot of faith in an old, I don't know if I'd say washed up, but tail end of their career, Lance Lynn. Sonny Gray is all right. He started the season injured.
Kyle Gibson.
Kyle Gibson's another one. Even at his best, is he like an elite starting pitcher? No, he's a good 4-5 in your lineup.
I don't know he was that old. He's like 35.
Yeah, he was kind of a late bloomer to begin with, but just going down the wins above replacement on ESPN's website. Not a great, anything by any means, but you have Brendan Donovan, negative 0.2 WAR so far. Only 35 games played. Not a be-all, end-all, but 0.5 for Arenado. The usual advanced wins above replacement darling Goldschmidt's at negative 0.2. Nolan Gorman, negative 0.4. Wilson Contreras, 1.6 was their highest position player based on wins above replacement. Mason Wynn, the shortstop, 1.4. 0.2 for Alec Burleson. Lars Nootbaar has been a negative player. Ivan Herrera has been a negative player. I'll get there, Ivan. I'll get there. Or Ivan, I don't know. Heard it both ways. Victor Scott II, negative 0.7 in 20 games played. That's absurd. Jordan Walker, negative 0.3. Negative 0.3 for an over-the-hill Brandon Crawford. Negative 0.3. Negative 0.3 for Dylan Carlson. Negative 0.1 for Matt Carpenter, who's played 3 games for them. Is he even still on the roster at this point?
Jordan Walker's
I'm not saying
not
that
on the
to
roster,
be.
right?
I think he got sent down.
Yeah,
I'm not even trying to be, smug. It's the reality. Their team's been really bad. Michaelis himself, negative 0.5. He had that one good season. Steven Matz, former Met, Long Island guy. I hate to trash him. Negative 0.6.
Ugh.
Zach Thompson, relief pitcher, negative 0.7. Negative 0.7. Giovanni Gallegos, negative 0.2. Andre Palante. Their team's been objectively bad.
Steve Matz just got on. He's on the IL too.
And I hope he gets better. I'm not trying to trash him. I don't like being negative all the time. For as much as listeners may think that, I don't like being negative. I like it when all 30. I said it a bunch of times. I want all 30 teams to feel like they're championship contenders right now. That's my goal. So I don't like having to say blow it up. But at the same time, too, let's call it how we see it. I'm not trying to be a hater, but I got to hate. What are they supposed to do, man? What are they supposed to do?
He doesn't pitch for a lot of innings.
Sonny Gray started the season injured and already has 1.1 wins above replacement. Bro, that's leading the team. ERA plus.
Yeah.
Gibson has actually been pretty good for them by ERA plus 3.68 ERA. That's fine. But I mean, like, that can't be, that's fine. But is that somebody on like a championship winning team? And same thing, Lance Lynn's been good for them. 3.28. Sonny Gray's been phenomenal. 0.89.
I'm looking at the stats for Steven Matz.
It,
I don't even really think he had a good. I feel like his best year was definitely in Toronto in 21. I'm looking at his stats right now. He had a 3.82 ERA. He pitched 29 starts. That's the most he's pitched since at that time 2019. I mean, the rest of the way after he signed that deal with St. Louis. I know the Mets were looking to have him back, but he decided to go to St. Louis instead. He only pitched 15 starts in 21, 22, 23. He only pitched 25. He started 17, and now he's on the IL now. So it's not a lot of innings from him, really. Only 160 and 19. I mean,
they should have tried to get Jordan Montgomery back and gotten rid of Miles Michaelis. That's what they should have done. Because Steven Matz There's really no upside. We know where he's at this point. Miles Michaelis had a very good season 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago in 22, he's an all-star 3.29 ERA. I'm sure he got Cy Young votes. No, apparently he didn't. Actually surprised by that. You have that Steven Matz deal. You have to kind of live with it, whatever. He's had a 67 ERA plus. League average is 100. 6.18 ERA, 6.43 ERA from Michaelis. They've been horrible. I'm not trying to be a hater, but they've been horrible. Their bullpen's been anchored by Ryan Helsley. He's been good. We said it. Giovanni Gallegos, 9 innings pitched, 13 games for a reliever, which is just insane to me. You do not see that very often. 12 ERA. You don't see that. Forget the ERA. You don't see. I could tell he's bad this season. 9 innings pitched, 13 games played. That means he can't get out of innings. And the ERA plus says 36. All right, so if the lineup's not good, which we spoke about already, the pitching staff's not good, which we just spoke about, the bullpen's not good.
This is definitely not a Cardinals show.
I mean, I understand that the standings make you think that they have a chance. Like, oh, Dennis, you're ripping them. They're only 6 games out. I mean, this is what they thought last year. It'll click, and it never clicked. So I don't think they're going to start trading guys now. They're going to wait for the deadline, and I don't blame them for that. But I am saying they got to start looking at what prospects in the league they like.
Right.
And I'm saying Goldschmidt and Arenado can't finish the season as Cardinals. Can't happen. Maybe even Sonny Gray, who they just signed to that contract. You got to start thinking of the future. And that future isn't built around Lars Nootbaar and Tommy Edman. And evidently not Jordan Walker. They send him up and down. Like freaking how the Yankees treat their guys. They send them up and down every other Tuesday. So, but yeah, it does suck for Contreras.
Yes.
I've always liked Wilson Contreras a lot, man. I always did.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully the Cardinals, hopefully they find a way to keep going. I guess hopefully they find a way to keep going. There's been a lot of injuries going on in baseball, especially at the catcher position. Francisco Alvarez, as we know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, hopefully that's it. But like I said, hopefully the Cardinals rebound. And, so we'll see. But let's talk about something different, something that's been when do you think was coming? I don't know if maybe you saw it coming. I didn't, but from your team, one of your favorite players, the Marlins traded Luis Arias to the Padres in exchange for 4 players that are joining the organization. One of the players is Dylan Head, who is a single A player from Jupiter. He's the Marlins' number 5 prospect.
He's out of this world.
Outfielder Jacob. Hold on, let me read off the prospects for you before you can dive into it. Jacob Marcy. He's double A from Pensacola. He's a number 10th prospect. His estimated time to call up in the big leagues is 2025. Head is Dylan Head is supposed to be called up now for another 3 years, 2027. Man, that's crazy. Think of that, 2027, man. First baseman / outfielder Nathan Mortella. He's double A from Pensacola. He's 11th prospect. He's expected to come up in 2025. And right-handed pitcher Woo Suk Go, he was just from AAA, Jacksonville. He's not gonna. He's supposed to be caught up later this season. And I want to thank MLB.com News for the details on the trade and the prospects. Thank you, Christina Di Nicola. I want to give her the credit for that. Crazy. I feel like the Padres definitely. I feel like they keep trading for some good players. Now, hopefully, they can just put it together. Because I feel like with the Cardinals, I feel like they definitely have a good roster put together. They just can't find a way to just execute and put it together and just start winning games. And with the Padres, I feel like they got a good roster assembled. I don't know what happened last year, but you add Luis Arias to that lineup now. Alexander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. You definitely want to see how it goes. I I like the show. I mean, just good for them. I don't know what the Marlins were doing in trading this player. You might know. I mean, what do you think of the trade?
The Marlins have made the playoffs 4 times in their team's history. 1997, they won the World Series. They beat Cleveland. Oh, just a quick digression about that. Genuinely, the 1997 Cleveland Indians, you could argue, is one of the best teams to ever win the World Series. Genuinely, like a top 10, one of the best players of that era, that 90s to mid 2000s era. In 2003, they beat the Yankees, underdogs, rookie Dontrell Willis. Who was the other dude? Josh Beckett.
Yeah, Josh Beckett.
Miguel Cabrera was a rookie.
And
everything seemed like this is it. This is his young core. And you notice how I said they've only made the playoffs 4 times in their team's history. 2020, they were the 6th seed. They swept the Cubs 2-0. And they moved on to the playoffs. They got out in the next round. Last year, they got humiliated by the Phillies. 3 of those times came in 162-game seasons, or at least full seasons. One of those times came in a 60-game season. And I think it's evident to me that the Miami Marlins / Florida Marlins are the worst ran team in North American sports. 4 playoff appearances since 1997. 4. Actually, since before that, they came to the league in 93. So 4 playoff appearances in 31 years or 30 years, because the season hasn't finished yet. Think of all the guys that were Marlins between then and now. Kevin Brown, arguably one of the top, I would say 4th best pitcher of the late 90s behind Pedro, Clemens, and Randy Johnson. At that point, I think he was better than the 3 Braves at that point, late 90s, 97, 98, 99. He was on the team for like 2 seasons. Gary Sheffield was a Marlin. Edgar Renteria was a Marlin. Livan Hernandez was terrific in 1997. Set the record for most strikeouts in a playoff game against the Atlanta Braves. Miguel Cabrera they had. Giancarlo Stanton they had. The Yankees won that trade. Anybody that gets mad about Giancarlo Stanton's contract, just remember that he was way better than any of the players we gave up. Not even close. Jose Fernandez died. It's tragic. I can't hold that against them. That's awful that it happened. It's terrible. And that sets teams back. Look at the Boston Celtics. Losing Reggie Lewis and losing Len Bias destroyed that team for the entirety of the 1990s. It's awful.
Jose
JT
Reyes.
Realmuto, Marcelo Zuna.
Jose Reyes.
Help me out here. Hanley Ramirez. Jose Reyes was washed up. He was washed up. Like that just happens. R.A. Dickey, I think did they have R.A. Dickey at one point?
No, I think that's just Toronto.
Heath Bell was washed up at that point. That whole, we talked about it. That whole Ezekiel Miami first year, they sucked. I'm thinking of Mark Burley they had. He was also washed up at that point in his career. So some of them they lost out on. The amount of guys that they've had, they've made the playoffs 4 times. That's a joke. Giancarlo Stanton never made the playoffs as a Marlin. D. Gordon had some really good years for them. Never made the playoffs. JT Realmuto. Like we always joke about like, the Don LaGreca, Ed Kranepool rant. Do you know who the Marlins Ed Kranepool is? Jeff Conine. How good is Jeff Conine? He had like 3 different stints with the team. They are easily the worst team in baseball ever in terms of being ran.
All right, Dickey.
Out of teams that haven't folded.
All right, Dickey was never a Marlin, no.
Yeah, I'll take the L on it. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And I'm locked in with the fan base, right? I'm on the threads and everything like that. And they're like, well, if we could be like the Rays, I'm like, why do you guys want to be like the Rays? What have they won? They're like, yeah, but they're in the playoffs every year. I'm like, bro, it doesn't work that way. How many? The Oakland A's haven't won since 1989. Why? Because they believe they made that model of just get to the playoffs and the rest is a crapshoot. Well, you keep losing at craps. And now you're bankrupt. So I don't know what my Marlins are doing, bro. I don't know what my Marlins are doing. But you know what? I can't sanction this buffoonery any longer. I'm out. Bro, I'm out of the tank. I'm out of the tank, kid. I'm out. Time out. We're done. We've seen enough.
You named all the
Call
players.
it. Josh Chisholm's our best player. Come on, son. Come on, bro. I mean, give me a break. So what? We could just keep running our starting pitchers into the ground like the Rays are doing? Give me a break. This team sucks. They're so bad. It's Miami. How do you have a bad team in Miami? So let me get this straight. The Miami Dolphins are looked at as like a free agent juggernaut. The Miami Heat are always looked at as a free agent juggernaut. There's no taxes in Florida. No state tax or sales tax, whatever it is. Some kind of tax break. I don't know. I'm not an economist. Somebody else's job for that. And I'm supposed to sit here and be happy with it? I get it. These 4 prospects, Dennis, hold on now. These 4 prospects, they could all turn out to be Ken Griffey Jr. I get it. But you also have to understand my skepticism here of they blew up the 97 team right away. Inexplicably, they blew up the 97 team. They blew up the 03 team 2 years afterwards. And they already had Miguel Cabrera and Dontrell Willis packaged to Detroit for a freaking ham sandwich and deep dish pizza. That's more of a Chicago thing, but whatever. Let me be mad. It's like, what am I supposed to say? For 30 years, this team has been ran poorly. Whether it's different owners or not different owners, the team sucked for 30 years, except for 4 seasons. And some seasons, there were fringe playoff teams when they had Stanton or whatever. And those teams with Stanton, Christian Yelich is another one, MVP after he left, of course. So what do they do now? What am I supposed to think?
What are you supposed to think?
It's like I understand Luis Arias is one player, and you get 4 prospects for one player. Luis Arias hasn't been as good this season as he was last season. I understand all of that. But what I'm saying is, when the hell are you going to get me a free agent who's not washed up, Tim Anderson? And he's one of my favorite players in the league. Easily my favorite shortstop, so it pains me to say that. Supposedly, and I don't know how true this is, supposedly Derek Jeter desperately wanted Nick Castellanos. Grew up in Miami, played college in Miami. He wanted to be a Marlin, lifelong Marlin fan. They didn't want to sign him. And now people are going to say, yeah, but look how that's turned out for the Phillies. That's fine, but name me the free agent you guys have signed at any point in your history that panned out. They've made one splash, lost. That was the Ozzie Guillen thing with Heath Bell, Burley, and Jose Reyes. It failed, and they're like, we can never sign a free agent again. What are they doing? Last year is washed up Yuli Gurriel. Like, I wouldn't care about getting rid of Luis Arias if you're actually trying to build a championship contender.
Well,
like I was saying all offseason, get Cody Bellinger. It fits so well. Come on.
I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to money, and
what do they need the money for?
I don't know.
This is the difference between between MLB teams and why nobody watched the MLB for the entirety of the 2010s, aside from diehard baseball fans, because MLB teams are ran to make money. NFL teams are ran to passionately, more often than not. Washington not included. NBA teams are ran to be entertainment. It's a star-driven league. When you're watching the Knicks, I'm watching the Knicks right now. We are watching a league that knows it's a soap opera for men and plays into it. That's what the league is. Is the league scripted? Hell if I know. I wouldn't be too shocked if it wasn't. If it was. I don't care. I don't care. I'm in. You have me. The NHL is, hey, do you like Neanderthalic violence? Watch it. It's fast-paced. There's violence in it. We play rock music at the stadium. You have your beers. You chug your beers. You have a grand old time. God bless. And all the women that show up to our games are fine. God bless America. God bless Canada. Thank you. And then you have MLB. They don't know what their identity is as a league. They don't. Is it star-driven? No. Because if it was, Fernando Tatis Jr. never would have been suspended for PEDs. Is it we root for the team? Is it we root for the city? It's not we root for the city because we're trying to move hell and high water to get the A's out of Oakland when there's plenty of alternatives they can do. One of them, including the Giants, just saying, yeah, you can build a stadium in San Jose, which is the easiest one. So the Marlins are the poster boy for that confusion. That's what they are. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what direction they're going. They don't know. And I get it. They're trying to rebuild or whatever. Fans were pissed when they got rid of Kim Ng in the offseason. Because what she sold the Marlin fan base on and what she sold the players on was optimism. A direction. And that maybe this new guy is fine. But you made the playoffs 4 times. And you blew it up immediately 3 of them. What are the fans supposed to think? The 3 legitimate postseason runs they had came crumbling down right afterwards. They lucked into 2 World Series rings. Because if you look at the talent on those rosters, all those guys went on to have good careers. After playing on the Marlins. Dude, I don't know how anybody can say another team has ran worse in baseball. The A's, I get. The A's are intentionally bad. They're trying to go bankrupt, more or less. If we're a monopoly, they're trying to go bankrupt. Financially, their business is their business. They're always going to be in the black because they spend 2 cents. The Rockies, I can understand them being bad. You can't attract free agent pitchers there. You can't. You can't. Fundamentally, you just can't. I get it. It's hard. They're playing on expert. Everybody else is playing on different, easier levels. I get that. This, I don't get. I don't get the Marlins thing. I don't. You've made the playoffs 4 times in your franchise's history, and you get rid of the best player immediately afterwards. He's a young guy. I would get it if he's 30. He's 27. Dude, come on, man.
Yeah,
Financial for what?
I think it's.
What's the point?
I think at the end of the day, it all comes to the environment. I don't know, like the Marlins. Like I just, hey, look, from what I see, there's barely any fans. Teams are not consistent.
That's what gets me crazy. What you just said gets me crazy. You just said there's barely any fans, and you're right. You're right. But let me ask you something, and this is all entertainment. Movies, TV shows, video games, wrestling, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, whatever. This, listening, watching, content. It's entertainment. Books, whatever, comics, I don't care. It's entertainment. And you need to draw. You and I have to draw an audience. If we're good, we get an audience. If we're bad, we don't. Some episodes were bad. Some episodes were good. We draw. That's what it is. Do you see where I'm going with this?
I do.
The Rays are always in the playoffs. Do they draw a crowd? Who's the best player on the Rays? I don't know. He's off in the DR freaking breaking laws and screwing around with 15-year-olds. That's the draw. Now it's Randy Arozarena, who's having a bad season. They don't have a draw. They're a good team that doesn't have a draw, and that happens. The Marlins have Jazz Chisholm as their draw. Where would you rank Jazz Chisholm for players in the league?
Not too high.
Not too high. And it's God bless his heart. He's like a good 6th, 7th hitter in your lineup. He'll go on spurts where he can carry the team. There's other times where he's just a guy. That's fine. That's fine. You're the Miami Marlins. Half the league is from Latin America or the islands. How do you not have free agents up the wazoo? Could you imagine if the Marlins were ran like the Heat? Oh my God. Could you imagine half the league, if I'm guessing, I don't have any numbers in front of me, is either from Latin America, which I was just in Miami a year ago. I mean, yeah, we all know that's that city's identity. Half the league is either from Florida, Latin America, and that region, the Caribbean islands, or from the southeastern United States in general. The Braves basically monopolized any player from Georgia. Or in the north, the kind of, I don't know if I'd say this is going to sound weird, but the northern part of the southern states, not the very southern, but, you know. Come on. Come on. Like Brady Singer's a Florida guy. He's having a terrific season. When he becomes a free agent, are the Marlins going to try to get him? No. But is that the kind of guy they should be going in on? If he was a New York kid, would the Yankees be giving him money? Yes. If he was dribbling a basketball and he was a Florida guy, would the Heat be calling him up? Yes. The Dolphins would. Come on. If I hate hearing the whole they can't draw a crowd thing, because the A's could draw a crowd when they had a team. And now they literally sent down Story Perez earlier this season. He was having a great start to the season, and they openly said to the league, "We're not trying. We quit. We quit. We quit on the fans. We quit on you, the league." And too many times these teams get away with absolute nonsense being put on a field or being put on TV. So I don't blame Marlins fans for not spending money. It's also kind of not in like the middle of the city. It's kind of out of the way. Lone Depot Park, okay, fine, you know. Oh, and by the way, you want to talk about a team's culture and what I was saying about Latin America? Do you know the neighborhood Lone Depot Park is in?
What's that?
Little Havana. Yeah. But they can't get free agents in Major League Baseball. Yeah. I don't think the Yankees would have that same problem. I mean, the Yankees don't. Juan Soto has said it. He likes that the Bronx and New York City has a big Latin culture. So what I'm saying is play into your strengths. But no, teams are just worried about running a profit and not actually worried about, they don't understand what they're supposed to be. Entertainment. I don't give a damn if your team is in the black. Fans don't. Because I'm going to buy jerseys and I'm going to buy tickets and I'm going to buy concessions if you're entertaining me, if you're drawing a crowd. And there's seasons where the Yankees are in the red, and there's seasons where the Yankees are in the black. And there's seasons where the Dodgers are in the red. They went bankrupt 10 years ago before Magic Johnson and Billie Jean King and their group bought it. The Red Sox went through it. You know, bad finances, whatever. That happens with teams. And then there's years where you make screw you money because you made the playoffs and you sold jerseys and people bought concessions and bought tickets. Hasn't had a home playoff game since 2003. And then you get rid of their best player. Unbelievable. It's an unserious franchise with an unserious future. Or I should say uncertain future. But I don't understand how anybody could support the Miami Marlins anymore. This is ridiculous. So, floor is yours. I got 20 minutes out of that. You can take as long as you want. You're muted, bud.
I think you said everything that needed to be said. I got anything else on that? You want to talk about Paul Skens quick?
Of course. How could we not? Just got called up to the Pirates.
I feel like he hasn't been in the minors too long.
No, he just got drafted a year ago, didn't he?
Yeah, now he's making a start, I believe, Saturday.
21 years old. God bless his heart. Wow, he graduated early. Or maybe he didn't graduate and he just declared early.
Good for him. I know
Wait,
he's dating Livy Dunn.
Yeah.
And just looking at his stats.
He started in Air Force. No kidding.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he has the mustache. Must be a big Top Gun guy.
Yeah.
It's in. It's in. I'll give him that.
According to MLB, he's making his start Saturday against the Cubs. He was currently ranked the number 3 prospect in the MLB, top pitcher in the MLB pipeline. He's 6'6",
Big man.
and he birthed
That's a
on
lot of
16,
size to be flying
obviously
a fighting jet.
LSU. Named Division I National Player of the Year, leading a school to the College World Series, Baseball World Series. According to MLB Network, he's armed with a fastball that consistently registers in the triple digits and a whippet slider. So he's during his time in the minors this year, he recorded 0.99 ERA with 48.5 strikeouts and over 27 and 1/3 innings in AAA Indianapolis. He's developed a pitch repertoire in his time as a professional, mixing his changeup, curveball, and splinter. That is sinker and a splitter hybrid, more than adding additional weapons. So look at this MLB developing pitching. That's according to Alex Stump of MLB.com. So this guy seems like a stud. I feel like they're making him out like he's Tom Seaver in the making. I mean, it's crazy that he's fusing his own type of pitches. That's pretty sick. Splinter and a sinker. That's insane. I feel like that's like unhittable. So his start is definitely must watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. When is that again? His first game?
Saturday 4 or 5.
All right, I'll be able to watch some of it when I get home from work at 5. Hopefully it's nationally televised. No, we know it's not going to be because it's baseball. Like I said, we're not here to entertain fans. Freaking idiots. But, what do I know?
But hey, good for him. But quick on the Mets. You see Christian Scott made his debut for the Mets. And he was highly regarded in AAA. He was kind of one of the only pitching prospects that the Mets really only had. Like, they have the hitters. They have Jeb Williams, Luis Angel, Ryan Clifford, Drew Gilbert, Ronnie Mauricio when he's healthy, Mark Vientos. They have the prospects hitting, but where's the pitching? So Christian Scott, he was really the only pitching prospect that was getting talked about when he was with the Mets. He was playing great, lights out. He was getting raved about for a long time. So it was only a matter of time before he got called up. Maybe he would have got called up maybe later on. But in his first start, he pitched 6 and 2 innings, 1 ERA, and 6 Ks. He retired 12 straight at one point. So I thought it was great. It's definitely something that the Mets pitching staff definitely needs. With a start like that, and especially from a rookie, first ever start ever, and great start, amazing. Definitely something that they need, especially you get him and Senga in the same lineup. Forget about it. So hopefully he keeps it up. And he wasn't in AAA that long. He was only in AAA for maybe a few starts. So he didn't get enough AAA experience. It was definitely interesting to see that he got called up pretty early. But I like it. So what do you think on that? It's definitely something the Mets needed, right?
I like it a lot. A lot of times teams wait too long to call up their prospects. And I like that they're giving the kid a shot. Christian Scott, he had a good start, didn't he? He did terrific.
Yeah, I just read the stat line.
Yeah, so, I mean, I like this for you guys, man. I always root for you, Mets. And good for him, man. Good for him. Only one game, but, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Now, I guess before we wrap up the show, you were just at the Yankees Astros game last night. I would have attended if I didn't have my foot injury.
Tough break.
But tell me, what was the atmosphere like? Yankees Astros. It's definitely known as one of the biggest. I feel like it's kind of people. I was watching Geico Sports Night last night, and they were saying the Orioles are now the new kind of rivalry for the Yankees. But Houston versus the Yankees. Astros versus the Yankees. What was that like? And they destroyed them last night, 10-1 or 10-4.
10-3.
10-3. Okay. Tell me, what was the atmosphere like in your opinion?
It was absolutely tremendous.
Okay.
The Yankees put a beating on the Astros. They jumped out to a 3-1 lead in the first inning, and it stayed that way all game long. Just the Yankees just pouncing on them. So 3 home runs. Volpe hit one. Verdugo hit one. Stanton hit one. And funny enough, a kid who was sitting by me, the kid must have been like 4, had a sign that said, it's a home run, Verdugo. He had a little sign that said that. And when Verdugo saw the kid holding up the sign, he threw him a ball. He kind of handed the ball to the kid to make sure he got it.
Okay.
Because he saw the kid's sign. The kid predicted it. He had it on his sign that Verdugo was going to hit a homer.
I saw that. He hit a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And that was funny. It was funny.
Hey, good for you.
3 homers. And I love seeing Stanton homers in person. Like, I don't think.
No, they're great, man. They're insane. I could tell you, as a Met fan, I could tell you they're insane.
It's unbelievable.
I remember when we went to the Yankees Astros. Yeah, he nukes them, man. They're insane.
It's one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen.
I remember when we went to the
literally just floats.
And it just I mean he hits it like it's a bullet, and then
he hits it like it owes him money.
Right, and then it sinks like slowly. I see what you mean. When we went to the Yankees Astros game a couple years ago, where we was sitting, we saw him hit the home run like perfectly. It literally like how it was. It was insane.
It was nuts.
Like I said,
do it not just against the Astros, Verlander, who's been a thorn in the Yankees side for 15 years now.
Not last night.
Not last night at all. They trimmed that thorn bush, brother. They trimmed that thorn bush. They had destroyed him. Stole his lunch money. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. Thanks for playing, babe. 10-3. Not even close. Not even close. Birdie stole a base. I mean, man, when John Birdie's getting hits off you, pack it in. John Birdie had 2 hits in that one. Pack it in. Pack it in. I love John Birdie, but he ain't. That ain't Ichiro. Todd Grisham came in. Not Todd Grisham. Trent Grisham. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the dude from WWE years ago. Trent Grisham came in garbage time for Aaron Judge. My God. Same thing with Jahmai Jones. He came in garbage time. Dude, this Waldo Cabrera. Bro. Come on.
Now, in terms of the Mets,
I loved it.
I want
the
to
whole
say,
experience. I went with my buddy Aaron, and the whole thing was awesome, man.
Next time I make sure I'm there. We got to get to a Met game, so I got to take you to a Met game soon.
We've never been to a Met game. No, we went to one. We went to Dodgers last year, just on my birthday.
Yeah, man, we're getting more to come, definitely. I know with the Mets. I was gonna say I'm a Mets fan. I know Pete Alonso's been slumping, but it was good that he had a good game last night. He was 2 for 5, and he had a solo home run. Brandon Nimmo had a good series. He kind of helped them in the games the other night. Lindor has been doing good. I feel like they were getting up in their average, so it's good to see. And yeah, that's basically it. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Nothing that I really saw that stood out to me. Talking about another injury. This was from, just 2.5 hours ago. Reds Christian Encarnacion Strand to IL with broken wrist. So kind of really struggling this season. But had a really good season last year, the 24-year-old out of Walnut Creek, California. And that sucks, man. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. So we'll see what happens there. Rangers bring back Robbie Grossman after making a trade with the White Sox. This happened earlier today. In exchange, I'm trying to find what they gave up right now. So, yeah, just give me 1 second. The White Sox got, obviously, minor leaguers. Anthony Hoppy Twino Tua. Hoopy Twino Tua. I'm not sure about the pronunciation there. I'm sorry, Anthony. And the Rangers made room for him by designating left-handed pitcher Colton Ingram to assignment. So, yep. Some other quick news. Wow. Stan's homer yesterday was the hardest hit ball of 2024. Ryan Pepio off to a tremendous start with the Rays, heading to the IL with bruised leg. Off an at-bat from New York Mets hitter Starling Marte. Jesus Christ, you guys are just killing people lately. What the hell?
Hey, yo.
Both Pepio and Rays manager Kevin Cash said they believe it will be a short-term injury. All right. They're just being cautious with the kid. He's off to a great start, man. He's a bucket getter. And okay. This just gets weirder and weirder. Apparently that Mizuhara thing, he wired money to a cast member from the Real Housewives of Orange County.
Okay.
And pled guilty to felony bank fraud. That's
Well.
the news of the day.
All
right.
Okay, so we thank you for joining us on another edition of Battin and Chattin. For my co-host Denis Tuohy and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Brandon Natale saying so long, and we'll see you next time.